I'm pretty sure the Sixers are not made for this. Neither are the Flyers. Winter sports have started, and we're already depressed and over it all, and it's still not even Halloween. Trending in the AM with a special guest joining us shortly on the STT Sports Network. We're live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button, that follow button, that share button. Those buttons that you see in front of you, it is very important you click those as we continue to grow this new network, as we continue to build the blocks of what sports talk should be. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, every single morning right here on Trending in the AM. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. And we got a jam-packed show today as we're going to recap game one of the Sixers season. And it was a doozy, all right. So we're going to talk about it. Obviously, the Sixers dropping game one, 124 to 109 to the Bucks last night. So we're going to talk all about that today. Flyers stink it up again last night. And we have a special guest joining us in about 15 minutes, Uriah Young, co-founder of the website and podcast NBA Now and Then, where we compare current stars in the NBA to their counterparts back in the day. And he's got a couple Sixers in his season this year that he is comparing to players of the past. So we're going to talk about that with him, along with the Sixers basketball and the NBA this year with Uriah. He will be joining us shortly. But the Sixers last night, they dropped the opener, the home opener, minus Joel Embiid, sans Paul George, with an NBA investigation looming for, dishonesty or whatever you want to call it, whatever the NBA is going to spin it, for not playing their stars in the first game of the season. And a season of potential promise is starting out pretty opposite of that right from the get-go. Right from the get-go. It's not looking pretty. This Sixers team last night, I got to tell you, the Sixers team last night actually looked really solid in the hustle, in the heart, in the intangible department. But it's just plain as day, clear as day, that this team, without Joel Embiid, without Paul George, just does not have enough to compete with the big guns in the Eastern Conference. And some would say the Milwaukee Bucks aren't even a big gun anymore. I tried to say this week they still were. You go out there and you watch last night, and the word I used at halftime, I live streamed this game. I did a watch party last night, and thanks to everybody that tuned in to my first ever watch party. And I used the word a lot in the first half and at halftime, active. The Sixers were active on the boards. They were active on defense. They were active on cutting the lanes. But without Joel Embiid, without Paul George, there just is not enough offensive punch. This team last night, the guys that took the shots outside of Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Uriah Cody Martin. Cody Martin was third on the team with 10 shots. Uriah was one of the double-digit scorers last night, taking 8 shots. These aren't guys that you want or expect the Sixers to be their focal point of their offense. And it's a shame that they had to be last night and have to be going forward till Paul George and Joel Embiid are back in the lineup. Tyrese Maxey obviously had a bad shooting night, shooting 10 of 31. He still scored 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block shot. Only had 1 turnover, which was really nice to see. But it was clear as day that Tyrese Maxey can do his thing, but he can't do it on his own. And this team has a lot of really good role players. We've talked all off season how this Sixers team is deeper than any of the Sixers teams lately. But yet, they're deep in depth. They're deep in role players. They're not deep in scorers. Eric Gordon gave you nothing. You started KJ Martin. He gave you nothing. Kyle Lowry was one of the best players on the team, and Kyle Lowry's 67 years old at this point. Here last night. I'm here back this morning. I never stop. Ramping up for what? The guy, pretty obvious, had a setback during the Olympics, and the team is hiding it. He either had a setback, pump man, or he took a very long vacation after the Olympics and got out of shape. It's one or the other. It's got to be. And I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy that we even have to deal with this at this point. We said the Olympics was a bad idea. What's up, K1? Missed you in the watch party last night. We had a lot of fun last night. Getting drunk and watching the Sixers lose last night. I just watched last night's game, and I feel bad for basically it was an 8-man rotation. They gave Ricky Council like 3 minutes in the third quarter before it was a blowout, and they emptied their bench. And I felt bad for them because Uriah, because Caleb Martin, because Kelly, they're giving it everything they got. But they're all role players. They're not leaders. They're not offensive juggernauts. Andre Drummond was banging on those boards like I haven't seen in so long in Philadelphia. We won the battle of the boards. We dominated the offensive. When was the last time the Sixers won an offensive rebound stat in a game? But yet we don't have the offensive punch without Joel Embiid and Paul George. Now, I was asking myself this morning as I was getting ready, would the Sixers have won last night if even just Paul George was playing? And I like to think that they would, because you would have a guy that can go out there and get buckets and not force it. We played Drummond with KJ and Kelly. But they were trying. They were giving it an effort, pump man. They were cutting. There was effort and hustle. And I like the word activeness. Active last night. The problem is those three players should never be on the floor together like that anyway. And this is going to be the problem to start the season. And anytime both Paul George and Joel Embiid are out of a lineup, there's going to be an issue. Giving everything while we watch Joel sit there sipping Shirley Temples. I didn't see a Shirley Temples on the sideline. But yeah. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you, pump man. They gave a lot, and I felt bad. And I felt bad for Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese Maxey, I got to give him credit. He stands up. He's a stand-up dude, leadership-wise. The guy's out there after the game saying, well, we can't blame the lack of Joel for the loss. We had to go out there and take care of business, et cetera, et cetera. The dude doing everything he can to keep the team together. And our guest is joining us now, so we're going to hold off on some of these comments for a second. Joining me on the I Have No Sponsor hotline, the great Uriah Young from NBA Now and Then. Good morning, Uriah. How you doing today?
Hey, how's my audio for you, Phil?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool, man. How's it going?
It's going better than it is for the Philadelphia 76ers after last night's game. It's going better than most Sixers fans today. But, it was a tough one last night for Philadelphia and for the Sixers to go out there. And I don't know if you caught, the first few minutes of the show there. I give the 8 or 9 guys that played the bulk of the game last night for the Sixers so much credit because there was a lot of hustle, a lot of heart, I keep using the word, they're very active out there, but they just weren't good enough. Right. And I feel bad because this team is built around 3 big guys, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. And when 2 of them aren't out there at the same time, they just don't have a chance.
Look, I was thinking last night, I only watched the first half. I had some work I had to do after halftime. And I remember right before I went to bed, Phil, I was like, why do I have a headache? Why am I in a bad mood? And here we go. If the Phillies and the Eagles don't give us enough frustration or a big enough headache, here come the Sixers. And to your point, we were outmanned. I mean, they didn't have Chris Middleton, But still, I mean, when you have Giannis and Dame, probably one of the top duos in the entire league, it's how do you combat that? I mean, Maxey's great, but like you said, we just didn't have enough talent on the floor.
Yeah, there's not enough talent to compete offensively because I watched that first half very intently. The second half, I just goofed around while watching the second half. But at halftime, the word active just popped into my head because they were cutting, they were grabbing rebounds. When was the last time you remember watching a Sixers game where we won the offensive rebounding battle in a game? It just doesn't happen very often with this current last 8 to 10 years. And they were doing all those right things. It just, it's going to be a struggle this year with they've already told us the preconceived notion that we are going to rest Joel Embiid a lot. We are going to rest Paul George a lot. It's going to be a very frustrating year for Sixers fans, I feel.
It's going to be frustrating if the health issues continue to be part of the equation. And the whole thing about the investigation into Joel Embiid saying he's only not going to play on back-to-backs. And I mean, we kind of expect that because we've been fans of this team since Embiid came into the league in 2014. But at the same time, Paul George is now part of the equation, and we know how injury prone he has been in his career, although he's a top player, maybe top 20 player when he's healthy. But it's going to be a frustrating season. Can I give you some positives that I walked away with from the first half?
Absolutely, because I have walked away with positives from last night.
There were some positives, and Andre Drummond.
Absolutely.
There's no way Josh Hart is getting double-digit rebounds with Drummond in the game. I mean, just the guy had, I think, 8 rebounds in the first quarter, something ridiculous like that. And, just the whole idea that Maxey took so many shots, he had to. I think he took 31 shots to get 25, 26 points. But at the same time, Yabusele, I hope I'm saying his name right.
I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine on his pronunciation.
Right. You saw him play in the Olympics for France. He was probably the second best player on the floor, if not the best player for that team. But for the Sixers, one thing I love that he does, Phil, the little things, it's that dude can set a mean screen. When that guy is trying to get someone open, he's so wide, he's so strong, and he's well trained. He's a savvy veteran. He's not young. So between Caleb Martin showing us we can do, and Yabusele, and look, man, I
was pleasantly surprised because I was very open about saying that Yabusele, whatever. He only got that NBA contract this year because of the dunk on LeBron. That's kind of the narrative I kept pushing out there. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you realize, in the first half of the game, I believe at halftime, he had taken the second most shots offensively speaking for the Sixers. And that's not – so Yabusele's a hustle guy. Yabusele's one of those role players that does a little bit of everything. He's not a guy you want taking the second most shots in the first half of a basketball game. And that's where I take a positive away from that because he did all the other things. And when Paul George are out there, that's not going to be necessary. And he's going to be able to fit the role he was brought here to play. So there were a lot of positives like that. Caleb Martin played 37 minutes last night. He's not going to play 37 minutes off the bench every single game when Paul George and Joel Embiid are out there. So there are a lot of positives to take away. It's just, when are we going to be able to see the positives, and the chemistry build with the actual core of this team?
Yeah, we'll just have to be patient. And a lot of people are saying at least it's not April that we're dealing with these injuries. And it's early in the season. It's 82 games, or 81 now. And we just have to be patient, and we have to be hopeful. And like Maxey was interviewed before the game, and he was talking to Wilbon about how in the absence of Joel Embiid, it gave him a chance to have more touches and kind of take more control of the offense. And he's adding stuff to his bag, Phil. When you think Tyrese Maxey can't get any better, he's doing some moves that he wasn't doing last year. So that's another thing that you should be on the lookout with.
Tyrese Maxey, and we're going to get into your podcast, the great stuff you guys do at NBA Now and Then, because this season you've got one on Tyrese Maxey this year. Yes. So I'm really curious about the choice of who you're comparing Tyrese Maxey to. So we'll get to that in a second. But something I saw last night is we keep asking ourselves, what's the next step for Tyrese Maxey in development? Right. And he took 31 shots last night. Too many. He did not shoot the ball well. When Tyrese Maxey has to be the man like last night, then he gets double teamed, the biggest guy, the best defenders on him. He's just too small to be a guy taking 31 shots without Joel Embiid or Paul George out there. But after the game, the leadership of him after the game speaking to the media saying he kept being asked, well, what about if Joel Embiid or is it because of no Joel Embiid? And he just kept saying over and over again, we cannot blame this loss on the fact that Joel Embiid is not out there. This is on the 8 to 9 of us that were in the rotation. We have to do better. The leadership maybe of Tyrese Maxey is the next evolution of Tyrese Maxey. Do you think that there's something to that?
Oh, I tell you what, it started in the playoffs last year, even though we lost to New York. If you recall, Phil, Buddy Hield was stinking up the joint in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it took Tyrese Maxey to come out publicly and show some encouragement, give some words of support. And what did Hield do after that? And I'm not saying it's directly because of those words from Maxey,
right,
but that leadership, that maturity to be vocal when it's time to be vocal. He's not on social media doing really random things or doing, flipping things. Like, he's a player that I think Philadelphia can trust to make the right choices. And as he grows, we just have to enjoy it because, like Embiid says, I know he says it maybe tongue in cheek, he's a franchise. Well, if Embiid lasts or if he doesn't last, I could see Maxey stepping in and being
I almost feel like we're going to see this year the changing of the guard as Embiid plays less. I know they just gave another 3-year extension to Embiid, so him and Paul George are here for the next 4 years. But you almost see the change in the guard. Maxey being 23, he might actually become the corners. I don't know if you saw it, the Sixers hype video to start the season yesterday. Yes. There was a hype video, and it was way more Tyrese Maxey than Joel Embiid and Paul George in that hype video. So I think almost the Sixers themselves are putting Tyrese Maxey at the forefront because they know he is the poster child of this team now going forward.
Yeah, his jersey numbers, I think, if I recall, Phil, Maxey's jersey number sales are in the top 20, if I'm not mistaken, in the entire league. So that number 0 with the blue and white, he is destined to be, I don't want to say like Steph Curry superstar status, and I see someone mention something about Fred VanVleet, but Maxey is still going to get better. He's still going to get better. I don't know if he's going to add more of a distributor element to his game, more of a pass. I don't think so, because I think he's more of a natural scorer, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Okay, we're going to get K1. We'll get to your question in a minute when we get to his podcast, because I do want to bring up, Brian here's comment about the Olympics and Joel, because me and Uriah tried to link up to do an episode together before the Olympics, and it didn't happen.
Right.
And me and you were debating whether, in a chat, whether Embiid should be playing in the Olympics or not. What do you make of the Embiid situation? Do you think some people do believe he tweaked that knee, something like that, in the Olympics? Some people believe he just got out of shape after the Olympics. Did you think Joel Embiid should be playing in the Olympics? Because everyone wants to say, well, it was good for him to get a chance to win. Right. But now here we are. We might go the first 2 weeks of the season without any Joel Embiid.
Right. At this point, he gets so much criticism, and I think Stephen A. Smith actually had to come to his defense because Barkley and Shaq were just dumping on Embiid about his health. I mean, your health is your health. He's a big guy. He's over 7 feet tall, so you can only expect from him what his body will allow him to. To answer your question, as a fan, the answer is no. I wish he did not play in the Olympics. But putting yourself in his shoes, if you have a chance to play with Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and all those other guys, what would you do? You'd probably play. So let's just put that aside. He played. Did he tweak it in the Olympics? We don't know. But we just have to accept Embiid for who he is. He's a little injury prone.
Yeah, and it is what it is. And I get the Olympics aspect of it too. As somebody that's been to the Olympics, I went to the 2004 Olympics in Athens for a little bit. Just the national pride, playing for your country. I know some people say, well, he's not from America. Well, he is an American citizen. His kid is growing up here and stuff like that. So the chance to represent your country is a pretty big deal. And I've seen athletes from all over the world representing their country and what it means to them. So I get that aspect of the Olympics as well. So, guys, Uriah Young, he's the co-founder and host of NBA Now and Then. It's a podcast, and I linked it in the description on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. NBANowandThen.com is where you could find all his episodes and things. You basically are comparing current athletes, current NBA players to the past, and guys that you think they compare best to. And one of your episodes this year is going to be on Tyrese Maxey and comparing him to John Wall. We did get a question a few seconds ago from K1 here. Is chances Maxey becomes the next Fred VanVleet? And I'm trying. I was stalling with the Olympics question to try to comprehend Maxey and Fred VanVleet's game, because
Right.
I'm not sure I agree with the Maxey John Wall comparison yet. Haven't seen the episode yet, but I'm
Right.
going to give you a second to explain that one. But thoughts about Maxey and Fred VanVleet comparison here?
I think that could work. I think when it comes to Fred VanVleet, he came out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
Maxey, he dropped in the draft. I don't know if he necessarily came out of nowhere, but I do see their stature. They're not really super huge guys.
Mhm.
And for people who see Maxey on TV next to Embiid, Maxey's like the smallest guy on the court. He looks cute and cuddly, but that's because he's standing next to Joel Embiid. I've been in the Sixers practice facility. Maxey's about 6'3", and he is pretty stocky, so he's a pretty big guy. I think VanVleet is a little shorter than Maxey. However, I think their perimeter games are very similar. They're good with the ball. They're good shooters. They're smart. They don't turn the ball over much. But I think defensively, Maxey might be a better defender. I would think. I mean, he had a nice block on Dame last night. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Oh, I saw the block on Dame. That was a nice block. What do you make of the whole Tyrese Maxey? There's a whole bunch of comments about the NBA and the refs and the fact that Tyrese Maxey this is not Tyrese Maxey's rookie year. It's just going into his 4th year now. He's an all-star now. He's a guy that is hold on, I had the notes yesterday. He's in the top 10 in odds to win the MVP this year.
Really?
No, top 15. Top 15 going into last night. Sorry, I had the odds there. I had to double check the number.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get the respect from the referees, and there's a bunch of people comment in the chat right now about that. What's it going to take? I mean, you literally fart anywhere near Giannis, and they're calling a foul.
Right.
You know what I mean? Literally, Maxey last night, in the first half alone, I counted 3 or 4 times, he was knocked down, and the whistles were just dead silent. Is that just the NBA being the NBA? Is that Maxey still hasn't garnered the respect he deserves? Because you think he would have by this point.
Yeah, I got a few things on that. During the broadcast last night, I forget, it might have been Richard Jefferson. They were mentioning how the referees were going to call the season or how they're going to approach games. And I think from what I remember last night, they were saying that they're going to let them play a little more. As far as Maxey, I think his size counts against him. Like I said, he's a small guy. And when he goes to the rim, if you play basketball, you can go into your defender. But if that defender is 7 feet tall and they put their hands straight up, you're not going to get that call.
There was a play exactly like with Brook Lopez, just as you're explaining right there.
Yeah. It's hard for him to get that call. I think last season he was getting a few more calls. I do think he's getting more respect.
It's a concern or a question or up for debate because the ESPN announcers, say what you will about biases towards Philly or not, they're very rarely complimentary of Philly. But even Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke last night were saying how surprised they were that Maxey wasn't getting the call, especially in the second half of the game. I think I counted 3 times where they're like, why wasn't that a call again for Maxey there? They kept bringing it up multiple times. So it's not just Sixers fans that notice it. It's the announcers that never say nice things that notice it. Pump Man here is saying it's because Maxey's too nice and polite because he doesn't demand the respect from the refs. He's not that bolsterous personality on the court like Giannis, like Joel Embiid, like the guys that get called for get the fouls called.
I guess I'm one of the guys that doesn't like when the players complain, like LeBron complains every play. I honestly don't want Maxey to be that. Do not turn into a whiner, Maxey. Just if a call is egregious, politic, if you will, with the refs. But I don't want him to become a crybaby. No. Right. Maxey is just too pure of a player to do that.
So in your season this year, NBA Now and Then, first and foremost, where did you come up with the idea to do a podcast about comparing current NBA players to their counterpart? Because I think I mentioned to you, we did an episode, randomly came up. We were talking about, the what ifs of NBA players of the past and whatnot. Right. It just randomly came up in a morning show and we went off for like a 30-minute tangent. What made you come up with the idea now going into your second season to do a show comparing players from now to the past?
Thank you for asking me that. You actually asked me that the first time you interviewed me, and I got lost in the sauce. But so here's the story in a nutshell. About a year and a half ago, wife and I were taking a trip to Canada, and that's a 7-hour drive, Phil. So you got to listen to something.
What part of Canada?
Yeah, well, we were going to Ottawa.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're in the car, and there's only so much Whitney Houston and Taylor Swift that you can listen to. Obviously, I'm not in control of the radio. So we started listening to Unsolved Mysteries podcast.
Okay.
30 minutes segments of aliens, Bigfoot, murders. But after about 7 episodes, Phil, you're like, all right, what else can we listen to? And then it hit me, Phil. I was like, man, I wish there was a basketball podcast that wasn't just, a couple guys debating about their team. I mean, Philly has dozens of those. So got to Canada. I was out of luck. There was no podcasts out there like that. And then we went to Montreal, did a little stop there. Great city, by the way.
Absolutely.
And it was raining out. It was raining out. So they had this huge tent stadium thing, and they had Cirque du Soleil going on in there. So wife and I were like, all right, we can't really sightsee outdoors. Let's go watch this show. So for about 2 hours or hour and a half, Phil, I sat there and was awestruck at the beauty and the amazing performance that just stimulated all the senses for the people watching. So after I saw Cirque du Soleil and I was just floored at how amazing it was, I took that creative inspiration and I took my desire to come up with a unique podcast for basketball fans, and I wanted to bring it together. So when we give you podcasts on our social media and anything related to NBA Now and Then, we want to give NBA fans a comprehensive experience, a memorable experience that merges nostalgia and contemporary love for the game. And that's what NBA Now and Then is about, is giving you an amazing experience, different from anybody else.
I love it. And I caught a couple of your season 1 episodes, and they're fantastic. But I was looking at the list of what you're doing this year, and 3 of them stood out to me. First and foremost, we'll get to Maxey in a second. Anthony Edwards versus Dwayne Wade was your season 1 or your episode 1 of season 2.
Yep.
And I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm so excited to listen to it because I predicted Anthony Edwards is going to win the MVP this year. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be even better without Karl Anthony Towns on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I am just so excited for Anthony Edwards, next step. I know they lost their first game to the Lakers, whatever. But what drew you to compare Anthony Edwards to Dwayne Wade in your debut episode of season 2?
Well, first of all, Phil, thank you for those kind words. And second of all, season 2 drops this Sunday. So
I thought it dropped last Sunday. Sorry, that's why I said I hadn't listened to it.
October 27th at 7 a.m. Every Sunday. I know Sunday is football day, but between now and May and June, every Sunday, 7 a.m., an episode will drop. We do our comparisons and different episodes. But Anthony Edwards and Dwayne Wade, did you know that they had the same exact college coach, even though they were drafted 17 years apart? Yep. Anthony Edwards and Dwayne Wade were both coached by Tom Crean, and both were instrumental in their development. Now, Dwayne Wade, we don't just do stats and we don't argue, like random things. We actually have segments. We do research, and I do the background, Phil. And both these guys, they had it rough, man. I mean, Anthony Edwards lost his grandmother and mother within like a year while he was in high school. He had to be taken in by his brother and sister. D. Wade had a family issue with drug addiction. So both these players, in our episode, we show you how they grow and how they go through obstacles to become the superstars that they've become.
Okay. All right. So obviously, when I was looking at your list of names this year, obviously seeing Tyrese Maxey as is it the third week or the third episode?
Tyrese Maxey's episode will be airing on January 5th. We're actually going to be recording it this week.
I wrote that down first, so I didn't write them all down in order and everything. But Tyrese Maxey, and you're doing a comparison with John Wall. And I've been trying to come up with a comparison for like 2 years now for Tyrese Maxey. Initially, I came up with Derrick Rose because of just on the court, that first quick step, the way they got to the lane, young Derrick Rose before he got hurt. That was always the first one. So what made you bring John Wall into the discussion to compare him to Tyrese Maxey?
Sure. So the first thing is the Ja Morant episode. That's going to be our season 3. We already got season 3 mapped out. So season 3's launch the first episode will be Ja Morant and Derrick Rose, because I think they're a better match. The explosiveness.
I understand that Derrick Rose, 90% of Derrick Rose and Tyrese Maxey don't match up.
Right.
It's just that
first
quickness
step
to get to the lane, that first step. Always, because I always tell myself, what happens to Tyrese Maxey if he has a injury career path, God forbid, knock on wood, like Derrick Rose? Can he develop the rest of his game Derrick Rose was always about getting to the rim early in his career. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that speed is what gave him that spark.
So you mentioned speed. So you're asking why John Wall? Because
Yeah.
John Wall, when he was drafted number 1, I think 2010, for a good 6, 7,
Who was
8
drafted
years.
number 2 that year?
Number 2.
That was an easy one. Evan Turner. Come on now.
Oh.
Talking Sixers, comparing John Wall to a Sixer. John Wall was 1. Number 2 was Evan Turner, who does nonstop trash talking on the
One
Sixers.
of my least favorite post NBA career guys, just talking smack.
God.
But anyways, I think with Maxey and John Wall, it's really about speed. There's the Kentucky connection, obviously. And like I said before, we peel back layers of them growing up and some of the things they had to deal with before they became superstars. And Tyrese Maxey, I don't know if you knew this, but his dad had a stroke while he was at Kentucky. Did you know that?
I did not know that, no.
Yeah, that. And, Maxey's always bubbly, effervescent, Mr. Positive. But when he was, this is around COVID too, man. So Maxey didn't just get drafted and everything was hunky-dory. He had to go through some stuff. And similarly, John Wall didn't have it easy, didn't grow up, with a silver spoon. He didn't have, family members in the NBA. He went through a lot, and he actually contemplated suicide because when his mom died, like when his mom passed away, John Wall, and he's going through his injury. He had it rough. He's a millionaire and all that. But I think the speed, I think the Kentucky connection, and some of the other, I don't want to give away too much, but there's a definite connection.
Absolutely. My man Stevie Fuentes saying Maxey as a player reminds him more of a young Tony Parker. It's interesting. I haven't thought about even Tony Parker, period, in a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Mista saying John Morant and Derrick Rose would be a great comparison compared to Maxey because they got the hops and they got the ability to dunk. Tyrese Maxey's just a small dude, plain and simple. What do you? How? I don't want you to give out too much of the episode and all.
Right.
What do you think about the John Wall career and where Maxey is at this point? Do you think Tyrese Maxey, if he stays healthy, can obviously have a better career than John Wall? Because John Wall would almost get into that. We had this little segment where we talked about what ifs. John Wall's career could have been totally different without the injuries, right?
Absolutely. I think the clear distinction between the players is the shooting. Maxey is a far superior shooter.
Absolutely.
And John Wall, believe it or not, the numbers don't lie. He actually was more of a distributor, so he would average almost double-digit assists per game. If Maxey can get to that, which I don't think that's going to be his role for the Sixers, there might be a closer knit comparison. But as far as John Wall, I feel bad for him. I think he would like to play again. I just don't think that his body or his knee will let him.
The knee. Once your knees, as a small guard in the NBA, once your knees go, whether it's from injuries or whatnot, you're pretty much done. Actually, for anybody in the NBA, once your knees are gone, you can't do it anymore. When we did this segment about the what ifs, we talked about Tracy McGrady, we talked about Grant Hill, we talked about a bunch of guys from the 90s and early 2000s. We never mentioned John Wall's name in the what would their career.
Yeah.
Did John Wall have the ability to become an upper echelon elite of all time? I'm not saying top 10 all time, but in that conversation of top 50, top 100 players, if he would have stayed healthy?
I think he could have. I think him being in Washington didn't help his case because Washington is not known as a basketball staple town. Like if he was with the Lakers or the Celtics, or he played even with Miami, there would be more of a focus on him. But you mentioned the Wizards. That franchise has just been drenched in mediocrity and just, I don't want to call it a loser franchise, but and he did make the playoffs, I think, against LeBron a few times. But Cleveland LeBron. Who's going to beat that team? But yeah, I think he could have had a really great career had he stayed healthy.
Yeah. Another episode you got coming up this year is Andre Drummond, also another Sixer, and you're comparing him to Dennis Rodman. I'm assuming you don't mean 18 haircut colors and wedding dress wearing Dennis Rodman. I'm assuming there's a different comparison between Andre Drummond to Dennis Rodman because I haven't seen that Rodman personality from Andre Drummond just yet.
Well, it'd be nice to see Drummond with the hair and maybe dressing up in the wedding dress. But no, I think clearly it's about rebounding, right? There's the argument nonstop. Who's the best this of all time? Who's the best passer? Who's the best scorer? The best 3-point shooter? So we said, let's compare two rebounders that you get them near the glass, in the paint, surrounded by defenders. Doesn't matter who is trying to get a board, these guys are going to grab it, whether it's Rodman with the Bulls and the Pistons, or like last night, Drummond just could not be kept off the glass.
Mhm.
So we did that comparison mostly to focus on the rebounding aspect.
Mhm.
But again, we give you layers, we give you their bio. We also give you their teammates that they played with. So you can imagine if Drummond played with another well, actually, he did play with LeBron for a little bit. But I mean, we can both agree that Drummond does do some silly things at times, right? He does or says silly things, not to the extreme of Rodman, but that comparison.
I don't think anybody ever had the extreme of Rodman in the NBA.
Yeah. Did you know that in my research, Drummond, when he was in high school, he was super tall. He said that the kids didn't want to hang out with him because he was so tall. Like he stood out, and also growing up in Connecticut, he was uncoordinated, which is the case for most big guys in high school. They don't put it together yet skill wise, but his background is intriguing. And Rodman, oh my goodness, like if people don't know about Dennis Rodman's past before he got drafted by the Pistons, that dude went through some rough times, man. Went through some rough times. So yeah, that's going to be a fun comparison. We haven't recorded that one yet. That's okay, coming later this season.
Gotcha. Yeah. Couple questions here for more in the what if category. Stevie Fuentes wants to know if you had a starting five if they never got hurt from NBA past.
Wow, starting five. Well, you gotta go Greg Oden.
Absolutely got to go Greg Oden.
I would put him at center. Derrick Rose is definitely a point guard. Hurt. I automatically think of players that actually passed away too early. I don't know if that counts.
I mean, that counts, yeah.
Yeah, I think of Drazen Petrovic. I think of Reggie Lewis, who played for the Boston Celtics, and Len Bias, man.
I was going to say Len Bias.
Yeah. Dude, if you guys have not heard of Len Bias, look him up on YouTube. He was probably going to be at that same tier as Michael Jordan, but he died of a drug overdose. So go figure.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Noom saying Gilbert Arenas and Penny Hardaway. Definitely. I don't know if Gilbert Arenas would count the what if. I mean, I know he had injuries, but he still had a pretty solid career. Penny Hardaway was a guy that I remember growing up Penny Hardaway was like late 90s. I was in like my high school, college days. And I just remember watching him before he got hurt and being like, this guy's a special guy. You know what I mean? Real special player.
Yeah. We compared Penny Hardaway to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
And to your point, Penny Hardaway, before he got to the NBA, he was the man. He was playing for Memphis, and he was so good at Memphis that he probably could have been in the NBA and skipped college altogether. He was that good. And to your point, playing with Shaq, he didn't have the big gaudy numbers, right? He barely averaged 20 points, but he has so much skill. And we compared him to SGA because SGA, who was first team All NBA most recently, Penny Hardaway was also first team All NBA in the backcourt with Michael Jordan. So that tells you how great Penny was at that time. And if he didn't get hurt, I agree with your listener, he would have had even a great.
It would have been a Hall of Fame career, in my opinion, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I love that you're bringing in, because we already talked about Anthony Edwards, SGA. I always say Anthony Edwards and SGA are my two favorite NBA players that aren't on the Sixers right now.
Yes,
they're
I
don't buy
watch.
many jerseys. I definitely don't buy other team jerseys. But if I was going to buy an NBA jersey that wasn't a Sixer, it would either be an SGA or it would be Anthony Edwards, because there's some great players right there. Sean Livingston, that's a great what if. But I give a lot of credit. We were just actually talking about Sean Livingston on Sunday we were teaching my 8-year-old nephew about players from the past, and Sean Livingston's name somehow came up in the conversation. And I was trying to teach my 8-year-old nephew about Sean Livingston's career, and I made him do a lookup on his phone about that guy. Allen Iverson would put up 50 points playing with a bunch of G League players. Maxey took 31 shots. So we're gonna criticize that there. Okay. Grant Hill's another great player from the past there that could have been a lot more. And we've got a couple people talking about Len Bias. I love this comment. Len Bias would have been able to stop Jordan defensively and score. You know, does the history of the NBA? We talk about what ifs with players or comparing players. If certain things change, if Len Bias doesn't pass away, maybe the history of the NBA is different. Maybe someone stops Jordan at some point, and they don't have the 2 3-peats.
Phil, he was going to the Boston Celtics. The prime Boston Celtics with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert
changes the history of the NBA.
Oh, absolutely. And
I think there's an episode. I know it's not a now and then, but there's something you could do a podcast on changing the history of the NBA by tweaking one moment in time.
I just want to add something else. We do comparisons like player now and then, but we also do Mount Rushmore episodes where we'll take like we just recorded 4 episodes, NBA superstars of the 2000s. So we do Mount Rushmore for power forwards, shooting guards, etc.
Right.
So we did Kobe, we did Iverson, and who was the other shooting guard? It's escaping me. But we do a top 3, and then we debate. We usually don't debate, but we debate who's going to make that 4th spot. So we do Mount Rushmore episodes. We do different categories like what ifs, like you were saying, Phil. And we also have our Legends of the Game episode where we compare players from the same era. So, for instance, we're comparing David Robinson to Patrick Ewing, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Bill Russell. We just recorded that the other night. And Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson. Wait until you guys get those episodes. Oh, my goodness.
My dad made me study up on Oscar Robinson. Just because, obviously it was before my time, but that guy was great. Len Bias was LeBron James before LeBron James. That's it.
Yep. He was built like LeBron too, man. He was built.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, so I got to ask you one more because you've done a lot of great comparisons. You've done a lot of great episodes, a lot of different content there. Out of all the episodes you've done now, which one is your favorite so far that you've had the most enjoyment discussing comparison-wise or Mount Rushmore-wise or whatever-wise?
Right.
I'm curious to see what one's your favorite so far.
See, I'm not going to be politically correct and be like, I love all of the episodes. No, I'm actually going to give you guys the answer. And the answer, I think you're going to like it, especially if you're a Sixers fan. So we've done dozens of episodes, Phil. Dozens, almost 3 dozen. And out of all those dozen, and a few that stand out that were fun, and I'll give you my number one, but we compared Luka Doncic to Larry Bird. That was a ton of fun. Draymond Green, Ron Artest. That was interesting comparison. We even compared Rudy Gobert to Dikembe Mutombo. So those are some memorable ones because for some reason the Dikembe Mutombo one was like, and rest in peace. He was like the most downloaded. I think listeners are fascinated by centers. That's why a lot of our episodes are so high in numbers with that. But the number one, Phil, get ready for this. We compared AI and James Harden.
AI and James Harden.
It was great going down memory lane, but their prolific scoring and their impact, not just on the court, but off the court, those two had a lot in common.
I don't think people understand the younger generation. Allen Iverson, like the younger generation sees James Harden off the court. I don't think the younger generation truly appreciates how culturally significant Allen Iverson was off the court, how he changed the game of style, fashion, music, just the way he carried himself. The Allen Iverson thing there, I think that's a great comparison. The off-the-court aspect of Harden and Allen Iverson right there.
Yeah, they're both super popular in China. AI with his cornrows I had cornrows back in the day, made everyone want to get cornrows.
I couldn't even grow my hair long enough for that if I wanted to.
But you got a beard.
Somebody do a photo edit for me with cornrows.
Like
I need a photo edit guy.
Photoshop?
Yeah, Photoshop some cornrows.
That would be interesting. Yeah, tag me in that.
Be ugly.
But I'm looking at you got your beard, right?
Yeah.
Well, James Harden, and some people say, no, Rick Ross, his beard kind of started. No. Like James Harden that's his signature. He's known for his beard, like AI is known for his cornrows. The scoring, James Harden has a wine now, so he's doing things outside of basketball business-wise. So that's a fun episode. If you guys love the Sixers and you love Allen Iverson, check that out. It's streaming right now for free on Spotify and Apple.
There you go. Awesome. Real quick before I let you go, 2 questions and I'll get you out of here. One, real quickly, final thoughts on the Sixers this season. Where's your gut? Like, obviously, everything we talked about at the beginning of the interview about last night and with the injuries and all, what do you think gut feeling is going to be the end result this season for the Sixers team? And K1, yes, that'll be the next question.
I think the 76ers are going, if they're healthy, it's always got to be a caveat.
Yeah.
If they're healthy, they can make the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if they can beat Boston because Boston, as they showed you, have such a cohesion and they're such a talented team, well coached. I can't see them beating Boston, but I think they can. I think they can make it to the big. They can make it to the big conference game.
Yep,
That's what
I think that's kind of where I'm at too. I heard I was watching some of that Celtics Knicks game on today's Thursday, so that was Tuesday night, and they said they returned 13 of their 15 players from last year. How often in any sport do you return that high a percentage of your players from a championship team the next year? Like, how often does that happen?
That's a key. That's a key. You can't underestimate that. That's so important.
You absolutely can't. And final question, we ask every guest on this show this question. You have to watch one movie for the rest of your life, but only one movie, and it only could be these two movies: The Godfather or Goodfellas. Which movie are you watching, and which movie are you throwing away?
All right. I got to go Goodfellas.
You got to. I think that wins out more often than not, just because it's a more rewatchable movie.
Yeah. I think Godfather is a little slow for me. Goodfellas, you just never know what's coming around the corner. And the fact that you got Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, I just love that movie. I mean, Godfather is a classic. Can't argue that, but I gotta go Goodfellas.
I don't even think Godfather is the best Godfather movie. I think Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1, which always gets me in hot water right there, because that's where you get De Niro in the flashback. So, you know, that's just my opinion. But Uriah, real quick again, everybody, I already said it. I linked it down below, but tell everybody where they can find you one more time and all your work that you're doing and stuff like that.
Man, I appreciate that. First off, shout out to Phil. I love your show. When you say the opinions matter of your listeners, it absolutely does. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be on your show. You can find us at NBANowandThen.com. That'll take you to all of our social media. That's www.nbanowandthen.com. We have interviews. We have episodes of comparisons. We have so much unique content that if you want a break from the debate style, which is great, come check us out. We take you down memory lane, but we don't just bore you to death with stuff that happened 30 years ago. We connect that to players of today. So if you want to hear comparisons, Zion Williamson to Charles Barkley, Jaylen Brown to Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, Chris Mullin, Grayson Allen, JJ Redick, Victor Wembanyama, and Will Chamberlain, check us out this season. It's off the hook, man. There's nobody out here, Phil, doing what we're doing. And if they are, they're not doing it like us. NBA Now.
You got to find a niche and something that's unique and roll with it. So I appreciate it. I think you guys do a great job. I love it. Uriah, thank you very much for coming on this morning. We'll do it again. We won't wait so long in between episodes next time. We'll get you on again soon, my man.
Thanks,
have a great day, my man.
You too. Take care.
Thank you. Again, Uriah Young right there on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. Wrong graphic. Let me get the right logo up on the screen. There we go. Obviously, there's a lot of comments I got to get through here, guys, but you're watching Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I greatly appreciate Uriah Young's time. The guy's really smart. And if you guys haven't caught his episodes, not every comparison hits home like some of the other ones, but this year, listening to Anthony Edwards compared to Dwayne Wade, Tyrese Maxey, John Wall, and Drummond Rodman, there's some great ones out there. I love it. I love it. I love it. 3 is my favorite number because of AI. He culturally shaped so much. It looks like a Goodfellas person. You nailed that one. You did. At 50 bars, crew thick. Yeah. What? I don't even know what that is. I get Godfather. Oh, so there was a battle in this one. Some said Godfather, some said Goodfellas. All right. Well, we had a bet going, and I didn't even see it in the chat. There's a youthful, stupid look at his eyes. I think Uriah is a little older than me, actually. I think I'm 43. I think he's 44, 45. So he's got that age there. You should work behavioral science. Yeah, he's part of the BAU team right there. Anyone that chooses Goodfellas over Godfather discredits himself cinematically. I disagree firmly on that because, again, number 2 is better than 1. Victor Wembanyama, good call. Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, I'm curious to see how this year goes for him, for sure. Now, that's called profiling. Profiling is so... Yeah, you don't want to profile people nowadays, right? Great stuff, Uriah. Thank you. Yeah, Steve, thanks for tuning into the interview. Thanks to Uriah. He is high quality right there. But we're going to get back to the regular conversations for the day. We're obviously still talking last night's Sixers game. losing 124-109 to the Bucks on opening night at home. We're talking Flyers, lose 6-3 again last night. They still have not won since opening night. Eagles, we got some Eagles things to discuss as there's news and notes from that. Trades in the NFL yesterday, going crazy. We're getting set for Bengals. We got Thursday night football. Where did I write down the Thursday night game? I don't even know where I wrote the Thursday night game. Minnesota at the Rams. So there's lots to cover. Yeah, it's crazy, K1. I'm trying to reinvigorate my love for the Flyers. We're trying to get over the Phillies with the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers. The Eagles are up and down. The Sixers are disappointing us already. And the Flyers, the hype, I'm telling you. I knew the Flyers weren't a great team coming into this season, but let me just tell you something. Like, they're bad. The Flyers are a bad hockey team. They're poorly coached. They're terrible on the power play. They have no goaltender. It looks like when they skate, they're towing a tractor trailer. Like, they're just bad. And it's trying to give them some love and some hype, but I can't watch them. I want to watch Matvei Michkov, but I can't. It's so bad. Chiefs just won. Yeah. Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins yesterday from Tennessee. Tennessee's open for business, by the way. They made multiple trades yesterday. They also traded Ernest Jones to Seattle. But basically, the Chiefs got DeAndre Hopkins for a fifth-round pick that with certain criteria can turn into a fourth-round pick. Seattle traded Jerome Baker and a fourth for the Titans linebacker Ernest Jones. So those trades went down yesterday. Devin White signed with Houston. And then literally 5 minutes later, the Eagles practice report comes out, and Zach Bond was ruled out of practice with a shoulder injury, obviously sustained it last week against the Giants. So now we're short at linebacker, and we're missing our linebacker. So there's a lot of things happening. Jack Driscoll was signed to the active roster. Paris Campbell is back on the practice squad. And the Eagles added somebody else to the practice squad. Last year's third-round pick of the Browns, I don't know how to say his name, Siaki Ika. Sounds like somebody from the bloodline, so I'm just going to acknowledge Ika as the new practice squad nose tackle for the Eagles right there. But, yeah, the Chiefs are just doing what they do. Fedotov is cheeks. I said it. Ersan and Fedotov are two, Ersan should be a backup goalie. Fedotov is what I always call quadruple A pitcher, a guy that's good in the minors, but can be fill in here and there for an injury, but can't be good enough to sustain in the pros. That's what Fedotov is. He's not good enough. Michkov had a goal and assist, so there's that. Yay. As I was doing the watch party last night for the Sixers, Adam kept chiming in the comments when every time it was 1-0, they were down, 2-0, they were down, 3-0, they were down. Chiefs got a steal. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is who he used to be. That run from 2018 to 2020 was pretty special, or 17 to 19, whatever it was. But he's still a solid wide receiver. And with Patrick Mahomes now throwing to him instead of whoever's throwing the ball in Tennessee. I mean, hell, he put up 1,000 yards with Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis last year. So he's still got something left in the tank. It's just going to make the Chiefs a little bit better than they already are. They've already got Mahomes. They've already got Andy Reid. They already got the refs in the NFL on their side. And now you throw DeAndre Hopkins into the mix. Flyers got caught with their pants down in the crease. That is an understatement of understatements. Barbara, have you accepted the truth? Barbara, very early in the episode, I saw you post about your quarterbacks. I'm assuming quarterbacks that you would take over Jalen Hurts. If you repost it, there's too many comments to go through it again. Repost it, and I'll reevaluate that. They will give Dean and Trot more reps, probably, but are you ready for Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? I mean, we're going up against the Bengals here. A very, very good offense, maybe a great offense. And you're going to go out there with Nakobe Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as your linebacker, with Ben Van Sumeren, who's turned into a fullback, playing linebacker. I don't know. It's not a good look. I'll tell you that much. Also, I saw Iverson have many games taking 26 shots and scoring 35 points. Iverson was a special cat, Barb. Special cat on and off the court. And he kept TGI Fridays in business. Because they play similarly to White. They do. But now we're lacking depth in the position. Maybe Landry III is on the trade block. I saw that. I saw somebody else put his name on a list of potential targets for the Eagles. There's a lot of names out there. The question is, what do the Eagles need now? I think waiting to see how serious Zach Bond's shoulder is. We'll see how he practices today, or if he doesn't. We didn't get anything from any coaches yesterday on how severe the shoulder injury is. But is it linebacker? Is it edge? Is it tight end 2? And no, it is not wide receiver 3. The Cooper Kupp to the Eagles rumors are bogus. They're terrible. Howie Roseman already traded a 3rd-round pick for Jahan Dotson. He's not trading for Cooper Kupp. The Rams want a 2nd-round pick. Maybe they take a 3rd. Or they're not going to go out there and get Cooper Kupp. They're not going to go out and get an elite wide receiver. They're going to roll with what they got. They've already got A.J. Brown. They already got Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert eventually will be back. Shocked they didn't put Dallas Goedert in IR, honestly. Trot will be fine. Dean keeps working on his swim move with his speed. Will keep giving us Reddick-style play. Yeah. All right. Maybe. I'm still worried about it. Zach Bond's been playing great. Not sure. Here's the question. Oh, so you want me to rewind the video later? I didn't even include Stratton Rodgers. Well, I wouldn't take Rodgers. Rodgers is hurt now. I'm not sure if you saw that. Can't have enough edge rushers. Obviously. Absolutely, K1. The question is, do they go big and bold? Do the Eagles not believe in the last 2 games sample size of some of the sacks where we get 12, 13 sacks in the last 2 games? And do they just add depth at edge rusher? More fringe guys? Or do they go out there, trade a 1st-round pick for Max Crosby, trade a 1st-round pick for Myles Garrett? Do they go big and bold for one player? Or do they go depth with multiple players? Or cheaper players? That's what I'm not sure about, because the last 2 games showed signs of life. That's why I think this week's game, this is the first real offense the Eagles have faced in a while now, because obviously they had the Browns and the Giants, and their offenses are poo. So, I mean, I can tell you the numbers. I mean, we know how good Joe Burrow is. The numbers they put up, I actually don't even remember where I wrote them down. The question is, how's the defense going to respond to Joe Burrow? How are they going to respond to Jamar Chase, to Chase Brown, et cetera, et cetera? I don't know what they do. Yeah, Kupp is not coming here. You're not worried about Cooper Kupp. Don't worry about Cooper Kupp. Unless you package Dotson for pick and a pick for Kupp, not going to happen. They're not getting rid of. They're not going to get Kupp. I would put it at 0.00001% chance. Okay. Landry wouldn't cost the 1st. Exactly. So you go 2nd level, or do you go bold? Something like Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, gonna boom, change this defense instantly. Now, on the other hand, Landry would help, but it's going to cost you cheaper. Maybe you could go a step behind him. Remember a couple of years ago, after the deadline, they added to the interior. They added Linville Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. Maybe they go that route. Maybe they wait till after the deadline and add a waived player or somebody else sitting at home right now. Not sure what they're going to do. I think the Eagles aren't sure how aggressive to be because they want to see this improved defense against the Bengals first before they make that decision, I think. They have enough wide receivers. I absolutely agree. But they're not the problem. I know what you're trying to get at there, Barb. I'm not going to fall for it. 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 They are not going to trade a 1st for Crosby, not without getting back a 2nd or 3rd and a 4th. Yeah, I find it hard to believe. When was the last time Howie Roseman traded a 1st-round pick? A.J. Brown was a 1st-round pick, but they had multiple 1st-round picks that year. When was the last time the Eagles went into a draft without a 1st-round pick? Because it's been a while. I only accept 5 quarterbacks on your list. Darnold can't play 5 decent games his entire career, then automatically elevates. Yeah, Sam Darnold. I mean, there's rumors that the Vikings are already trying to move on from Sam Darnold and get Matthew Stafford. Unsubstantiated rumors, but the rumors are still there. That just sucks. You lead a team 5-0, and then you lose one game to another great team like the Lions, and your team's already ready to move on from you. I love it. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Daniels has played 7 games. He's a rookie. Exactly. Right after the Wentz draft. So 17 was the last time. Yeah. It's been a while since they haven't. Howie loves his draft picks. He doesn't always hit on his draft picks, but Howie does love his draft picks. He really does. He loves to build. When you've got a team full of expensive players, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, all over. You got guys you've got to pay eventually, and Jalen Carter, maybe Jordan Davis. I'm not sure what's going on with Jordan Davis now. Only playing 12 snaps, but you got all these expensive players. You need draft picks. So the Eagles can't be trading. They already traded a third. They've already traded a third for Dotson. They should be getting a third back in 26 for Reddick. I don't know what the 25 draft pick capital is left for the Eagles. But, let me actually look at that because I think that actually hold on, wrong type in here. Eagles 25 draft picks. Let's see what they got. Right now they got a first round pick, 1 second, 1 third, 1 fourth, and 3 fifths. So they gave up the 1 third, so they still have a third. They got 3 fifths that they can maneuver with, but that's not much. Not much at all at this point. So I can't see Howie making too many trades at this point. I'm going to go find Barb's comment from earlier in the show. Got to find it. It was way early in the show. I don't know. This is very difficult to page through. There's only 85 comments, but I think I can find this. I paged up to the top. All I'm looking for is Barb's first comment. Is this it? Players over Hurts. Jalen Daniels, no. Jared Goff, maybe. Sam Darnold, no. Caleb Williams, definitely not. Jordan Love, it's borderline. Matthew Stafford's borderline. Brock Purdy, he stunk last week. Josh Allen, sure. Baker Mayfield, no. Lamar Jackson, yes. Joe Burrow, yes. Patrick Mahomes, yes. Yeah, I disagree with some of those names. Definitely disagree with some of those names right there. Just so you know. Yeah, I don't feel like eye contact. I'm kind of tired this morning. I gave you guys 2.5, 3 hours of my life last night. Hurts was NFL MVP 2 years ago. He almost was last year, too. According to Fangio, Davis few snaps the last 2 games because of the switch. Yeah, I get it. The Giants were down a lot, so they had to throw a lot. But he played 12 snaps, Duck. 12 snaps last week. That's pretty telling. 12 snaps. 12 snaps. No Steichen, no MVP. Yeah, but no back-to-back years with the same coordinator. You also got to throw that in there. Deion Sanders has identified the Eagles as a team that is. I don't want Deion Sanders' son here. Stop with that nonsense. That's a whole. Yeah, her point is that Jalen Hurts is not good. Barb is basically, the pump man and Barb are basically the same person. We've never seen them in person together. He has not won an MVP, but he's been damn close multiple times. And none of those other names, a bunch of those names on your list haven't had almost MVPs like Jalen Hurts. I know it sounds stupid saying it. Steichen was the first time he's had the same OC for more than a season. Exactly. And I don't think people put enough emphasis on this right here, Duck, and how important this is. That Jalen Hurts has literally had a revolving door coach and coordinator for literally since his college, maybe high school days. Plain and simple. And that matters. They adjusted. He hasn't. Yeah, Lordy is right. This is what today's show is turning into. Me, again, it's like it doesn't matter what I talk about. Flyers, Eagles, Sixers. Talk with a guest, Uriah Young, and we still somehow, always end up talking Jalen Hurts. There's a reason why channels like WWIP always talk Jalen Hurts, because it's a topic that's very easily discussed. It's a topic that everybody wants to talk about. And it's kind of crazy. I got a joke. I got something for you here. Did anybody watch Nick Sirianni's press conference yesterday? Nick Sirianni looked sick as a dog in his press conference yesterday. Like, he just looked out of it. Coughing, sneezing, runny nose. First and foremost, could somebody get him a tissue during that press conference? He had to step away from it. But then somebody, I guess, from the PR department tried to get him a glass of milk. And he said so adamantly no. And I haven't touched milk in 20 years. Now, I don't know if he's like, no reporter followed up with, are you lactose intolerant or not? But does milk help with a cold? Whose idea was it? If he's allergic to milk, why would you offer him milk? Or why does he hate milk so much? It was kind of a comical little situation there. That he was out there. Maybe the best thing for this team is Nick Sirianni has to have a sick day on Sunday, and maybe Kellen Moore runs the team on Sunday a little bit. That's what I thought, that milk's the worst for a cold. But supposedly he doesn't like milk. I'm a fan, and real fans can criticize their team. We can absolutely. And I allow you to criticize it. And I always say your opinions matter, Barb. I just don't agree with your opinion this time. That's all it is. I mean, Hurts isn't above criticism, but I'm giving him a few more weeks to put it together. Yeah. I don't know if Moore and Hurts are the perfect match, but we got to give it more time. And again, to remind everybody, Hurts ain't going anywhere for at least 2 more years. So strap in, because he's going to be here for a while, Jalen Hurts. That dead cap money, if you trade him or cut him or move on from him, insanity. His teams has looked sick as a dog until they play a team sicker. Yeah, true. Almost all the top quarterbacks have had same OC for multiple years. It's hard to adapt to a new scheme every year. And I talked about this on Monday with the Chiefs. I mean, no matter how bad the Chiefs look from time to time, or how many players get hurt, Andy Reid, Nagy, Spagnuolo have been together with Patrick Mahomes for a long-ass time. And there's continuity there. They know when to pivot. They know how to solve problems on the fly. It's important. Continuity in a coaching staff is so important. Ask yourself why the instability follows. Well, we lost our coordinators because when you go to a Super Bowl, you tend to lose coordinators in 22. Last year, I said it before the season started, that Sean Desai and Brian Johnson were the wrong choices to fit what we needed. Yeah. Duck is a doc. Dr. Duck. Doc, whatever it is. I just thought it was really hilarious. I just was glancing at my notes for something else, and I saw me write down Nick Sirianni says no to milk, and I thought it was hilarious. Goff and Mayfield have played, just for example, have played well on multiple teams, but Goff wasn't great instantly in Detroit. It took time. And Baker Mayfield wasn't great instantly in Tampa. And we're going to see Baker Mayfield, now that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are gone. Godwin's gone for the year. They're saying Mike Evans is gone till at least week 11. How's Baker Mayfield going to look this week without his 2-star wide receivers? Jared Goff is so elite that the Rams gave up on him after taking them to a Super Bowl. They didn't give him the extension. We gave Jalen Hurts the extension. Milk thickens mucus. As long as you take to offset the thickened mucus, you will be fine. I don't know. Dated a nurse once and actually listened when she told me stuff. Oh, so you stayed at a Holiday Inn once. That's basically what you're saying. For a really relevant reference right there. You stayed at a Holiday Inn once, so you think you know how to solve all my medical issues. Basically. I don't want to know what was being played in the house with Duck and his girl. Howie makes mistakes. Howie does make mistakes. Cutting Devin White might turn into a mistake now that we're maybe missing Zach Bond. I'm going to be waiting patiently. Jack Driscoll got added to the active roster. Tells me Becton will not return from his concussion this week. Oh my God. I don't want to know what was going on in the bedroom, okay? I don't. This is a PG show early in the morning, okay? PG show. But guys, we're still talking Eagles. I still want to ask where, now that you're all here, now that you're all riled up, did last night's Sixers loss give you any glimmer of hope? Because it did give me a glimmer of hope. The role players on this team are good, some of them at least. Eric Gordon was bad last night. KJ Martin was bad last night. I question KJ Martin being a vital role and being part of this rotation. He did nothing last night. Didn't even play in the second half. But Uriah, when everybody's there, will be a nice role player. Caleb Martin, lots of positivity there. Andre Drummond, so good. So good. Every GM makes mistakes. Look around the league. Absolutely. Every GM. I bet you there's no GM that's got a better than 50% rate right now in success. You know, the algo would appreciate the no, I don't think so. I wasn't missing this one. Well, you missed basically 70 minutes of it. 70 minutes of it you missed there, my man, Trinidad. But better late than never, I guess. Sixers home opener didn't go well. Knicks didn't play well yet Tuesday either. But we were missing two of our stars. How many of your stars were missing, Trinidad? Just going to throw that out there. Browns, Jets, New England, Giants, Jags, Panthers are examples of how they still have jobs. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. GMs make mistakes. Look, the GM showing how the Giants, he might not have a job after this year. Did you guys see the videos of Saquon Barkley after the game? There was not one person on the Giants organization that did. We're talking about equipment people going up to Saquon, the handshake, hug, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody on the Giants wanted Saquon Barkley back except for their GM. That's kind of ludicrous. Yeah, they covered it. You see? They covered. You won. I lost money. You won money last night. So you're happy. I am not. So how about that? Look at Belichick's record of drafting wide receivers. He's the greatest coach of all time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Was Belichick ever given the title of GM? Like officially? I'm not sure. Something came out. I didn't get to read it. That Belichick, that Kraft had picked Jared Mayo to be his Belichick's replacement like 5 years ago and was grooming him for a long time. I'll give you a like, oh, okay, thank you. Well, thank you. We let you hit your over by the Sixers defense falling apart late in the game and Dame Lillard going off later in the game. Hurts is good at everything but not great at any one thing. If he could cut out the mistakes, he's top 5. He's gone 2 straight games without a turnover. And nobody's talking about that, obviously. So that's fine. That's fine. Where's Marshawn? He said he hoped I lost my 40. I don't know if we've seen Marshawn yet today, but he's always lurking. So he might hear his name and show up just like Beetlejuice. Want to rub it in my stinking Philly face. Oh, man. Oh, you guys, I love y'all. I love y'all. Love each and every one of you. Phil, you are over 200 subs, so we getting a Mitch Koff for a few weeks. Mitch Koff hasn't been here. I've been calling him Mitch Koff for a few days now. Yeah, we started the show at 2:08. We're probably still at 2:08. I didn't get time today to share the show out, so or massively share the show out. So the algo probably took a little dip today. It's not going to be my highest viewed show today, but it is what it is. We'll get back to the algo tomorrow. Sam, he is going too far in the other direction though, so risk reverse. Look, I think the problem with Jalen Hurts is that we want him to be someone he's not. For a decade, we wanted Donovan McNabb to be someone he wasn't instead of just letting him be him. We all want Jalen Hurts to be somebody he's not instead of accepting who he is. And that's what I think the organization needs to do as well. They got to find that coordinator like Shane Steichen that is going to let him be him. I thought the World Series started Friday. Does the World Series start tonight? Now I got to fact check this. I thought the World Series started tomorrow night. Yeah, it starts tomorrow night. game 1 tomorrow night, right? Yeah. So I'll give you a World Series prediction tomorrow. I will. I told you about that Browns pick last week. I'm sorry, the Browns pick. I hope your baby mama takes all your money. See, I said it. If you say his name 3 times, he just pops up just like Beetlejuice. Yeah. The defense got worn out by the end of the game. Hurts needs to get back to his game manager style, which takes a bit because he's been trying to gunsling for 2.5 seasons. You got to let him be him. That's what it is. Sorry, baby daddy Jay. Could be Josephine for all we. Oh, my goodness gracious. Man, Marshawn, you could be harsh. You could be harsh sometimes, but I love it. Love it. When guys are schemed open and Hurts won't pull the trigger, it drives me insane. Yeah, it drives me insane too. And I think that's maybe part of Hurts paying too much attention to the fan base. And here's all the criticism, protect the ball. You know, we talked there was that play on Sunday where the pressure was coming, the pocket was collapsing, and he just fell down so that he didn't take a big hit. Could he have thrown it away? Maybe. Could he have tried to escape? Maybe. But then if he makes a mistake and turns it over, we criticize him for taking too much risk. I think Jalen Hurts is in his own head too much, trying to be everything everybody wants him to be instead of just being himself. And he always has to show more emotion or less emotion, this and that. Jalen Hurts just needs to be Jalen Hurts. That's not my fault. They were channeling the spirit of Larry Bird. The Celtics were on fire. Some of us got to work. Hey, look, I got to work too. As soon as this show's over in 10 minutes, I'm in the car. I'm at work. I'll be at the shop for 10 hours today. Yes, rest in peace, Fernando Valenzuela. Phillies legend for a year and a half. Passed away. One of those fun left-handed pitchers back in the 80s, for sure. Phil, you have amnesia. You picked the Browns. I said it was a mistake. I didn't pick the Browns to win. I picked the Eagles to win, not the Browns. I'm going back in my notes here. I questioned the Eagles because of the stats against the spread, but I'm pretty sure I picked the Eagles to cover. Where are my notes from that game? I don't even know where my notes are. I take way too many notes, but I definitely picked the Eagles to win. He's been trying so hard to make things happen that it caused the increase in his pick numbers. Gunslinging makes his numbers look good, but it kills his confidence. Absolutely. He is a confidence guy. He's not been confident. It's not your fault, the OG. It's Markel Bridges' fault, yeah. That was Randall Cunningham's slogan, let me be me. I'm an OG too. I like that, yeah. Remember when Randall's backwards hat, inside out coat on the sideline? Yeah, Fernando's, it was released yesterday morning. I saw it when I got to work around 10 a.m. yesterday. But yeah, Venezuela passed away yesterday, or maybe it was the night before, but it was announced yesterday. Hurts doesn't do the most basic thing at a pro level. Throw with anticipation outside of the 50. 50. Maybe. But maybe that's just not in his game. Every quarterback's got their weaknesses. Jalen Hurts is still a solid quarterback. And he chose not to play? Is that what it is? He chose not to play. Phil, we Dodgers fans for one series, right? Yeah, I'm predicting Dodgers in 4 tomorrow, probably. Just for Trinidad. Absolutely. K1. I loved when we got him. Before his gunslinger phase, he used to throw those away instead of taking the sack. He's taken that out of his bag of tricks. Again, don't we remember trying to force Donovan to be a pocket West Coast passer? And he couldn't do it. And we complained about the worm ball. Now we're trying to make Jalen something he's not. Shut down the Yankees in 81. I just remember getting old Fernando on the Phillies and be like, this is just cool to watch a legend pitch for the Phillies. Considering he was past his prime, but the Phillies were just so bad in that era that getting him on the team, it was just something fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. I wonder how this will affect morale for the Dodgers when it comes to World Series. This could either fire them up or crush them. Oh, Fernando. Okay. Most likely going to fire them up. Yeah, they're going to win it for Fernando. I I hate the Dodgers more than the Yankees. It's a close call. It's a close call, K1. Did you guys see that the Dodgers, Ohtani's home run ball went for $4.39 million at auction? And they tried to give the cat that caught the ball $300K for it, it turned out. I thought it was just bats and stuff. It turned out to be $300K. He said, no, I'm going to take it to auction. You got $4.39 million for that home run ball. You ever catch something famous, hold on to it, go to auction. I picked the Eagles over the Browns, so I know maybe that's why I didn't go far enough back in my notes. But where are my Browns notes from a couple weeks ago? There's no way I picked. Oh, that's still Giants notes there. That's post-Browns game notes right there. I don't even know where my notes are. Eagles, Browns. All right. Yeah, I had written down 30-10 was my prediction for the Eagles over the Browns. I had written down 4 scores, 30-10, 35-17, 27-6, 31-10, and I settled on 30-10 Eagles, just so you know. I keep notes. Always keep notes. Steve Francis. I remember Steve Francis in college. Where did he play in college? Didn't he make an NCAA tournament run? Yeah. Orlando, Steve Francis. You and any form of respect should be in the same sentence. Oh, my God. Yes, Ohtani is a degenerate gambler. That's kind of gotten forgotten about this year. The whole Ohtani. I remember talking about it on this show. Man. The Marshawn Trinidad battle. I don't know. His interpreter Ohtani is playing the Ray Lewis role, and his interpreter's playing his friend's role. Took one for the team, and his interpreter will be fine financially for the rest of his life. Trust me on that. That's what the Yankees have done by the competition. Yeah, I hate them both equally too. I'm not even going to get into the battle back and forth here. Yeah, Maryland. I remember that because I went down after they won the NCAA tournament. I had a friend that went to the University of Maryland, and they did a big kickoff before it was called Midnight Madness, like the weekend before the first game of the season. And they packed their stadium. They had this big show and stuff like that. Now that I mention this, I remember going to this. It was one of the craziest weekends in my college life partying, was going to the University of Maryland for their Midnight Madness the year after they won the March Madness, the NCAA tournament. It was insane. It was one of the most insane weekends of partying of my life. No lie. No, so Phil, I'm talking about your picks last week, not 2 weeks. I don't know what we're talking about here. This conversation is all over the place. I haven't picked the Eagles to lose. The sign guy at the Eagles game, in response to "Let me be me," put up a sign that said, "You don't have a clue," with clue spelled backwards. What? I don't even know what we're talking about now. You guys are all over the place here. We're going to get back on track tomorrow. I don't know what you're talking about, Barb, because you mentioned the Browns, and I'm not sure what you're talking about with the Browns. I'm missing something here. Steve franchise. These comments are all over the place, Barb. Sorry. These comments are throwing me off, which means I don't understand what we're talking about anymore. A celebrity gets into trouble and they hire someone to take the blame. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, did I pick the Browns over the Bengals last week? Yes. That I did do, I think. Those picks I got right here. Yes, I did take the Browns to beat the Bengals. I did do that. All right, now I know what you're talking about. I do know that. I don't know if I picked them outright. I just said they'd cover. They obviously didn't cover. Who's talking about the Eagles? I'm talking about your NFL picks. My NFL picks were 10-6 last week, okay? I got the Browns one wrong, but I went 10-6 against the spread last week, okay? I am now, I already set the page up for tomorrow's picks. I am now 60, 46-3 on the year. So slightly better than, I don't know, it's probably like a 55% win percentage. I'm old enough to remember the Yankees era. I'm old enough to remember the 28 at Yankees. My favorite part of the show, Phil tries to keep up with. I'm trying. We're almost out of time here. I'm trying to catch up here. Brock Purdy's a great game manager, but he's mediocre. Everything else. There it is. See, I'm trying. Barb, the comments are just throwing me off today. We got people battling Yankees, Dodgers, making fun of the Mets. I don't know what's going on in the chat today. Yes, my Browns pick was bad last week for sure. No, this is what makes this show so special. This is what makes this show so special. The last 20 minutes of the show. Oh, you did say it? Okay, I don't remember you saying that, but that's fine. Look, it was a bad pick. Look, the Bengals are going to be a tough team for the Eagles, and I haven't even come up with the idea if I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this week. I'm not sure if I do. Yeah, agents of chaos. You're all agents of chaos. I'm trying. Pumpman was here earlier. Yeah, I'm flummoxed. Yeah, Pumpman was here earlier. He was here for the Uriah Young portion of the show interview. So yeah, he was here. Don't worry. He might have had to go back to work. Eagles win by 2 touchdowns again. I don't know about that. It's gonna be a tough one. I have a key for it, but we'll save the key for tomorrow. When we talk, we'll have Shane Half on the show from the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network. He'll join us at 9 tomorrow. Right when the chat's getting chaotic, that's when Shane will be joining us tomorrow. So always love Shane on the show. I confuse my look. We all confuse ourselves regularly. I'm confused today. Doing a 2.5, 3-hour show last night. It's exhausting. It's going to be a long day today at work. But we'll start the wrap-up process right here. I got my notebook closed. No more notes. Call me Mr. No Notes. Trinidad working from New York City home office. Is that what it is? Homeland. Oh, see a Homeland Security guy? Great. Marshawn's the mush of sports. Oh my God. Stop. I did a Sixers watch party. I live streamed during the Sixers game. I had the Sixers game on my TV and I chatted with people. Marshawn was there. Mister was there for a minute. Adam was there. Trinidad was there for a little bit. You know, he had about almost 100 views on YouTube last night. You know, I was computer on me. I chatted with you guys and I watched the game. I'm going to try to do one watch party a week for something. Sixers this week. Maybe I'll do Eagles either this Sunday or next Sunday. Trying to do a Flyers game maybe eventually. You just got to pay attention to the channel because I don't know when I'm going to do it because I can't plan them in advance because you never know when something's going to change at the pizza shop and make me not be able to do it. So it can't be planned. Yeah. You got to get the super chats back. I got to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's what I need. And if you want to super chat, my PayPal and Venmo are linked below. Just so you know. But yeah, if I can get the super chats going, but you can't get there, mister, until I get to 1,000 subscribers. That's the number one key you got to hit to get activated for super chats. And I would love the super chats back. Not that I ask for money. I don't ask for money. This is a free thing for you. I don't charge. Like the Inquirer, charging to read an article by that wackadoo, Marcus Haystack, who's saying that who's using Joel Embiid's son and his deceased brother to criticize Joel Embiid. And people pay for that shit behind a paywall. There ain't no paywall to watch this show. Phil, why do you do the things you do? I have no idea why I do the things I do. No, it's all good, Mark. It's a last-second plan. I'm going to last-second plan some of these watch parties from time to time. Yeah, if I could do a super chat, I would. Rant Phil, dude, I didn't read the article because I would never pay for the Inquirer with Marcus Hayes articles. Well, that was a VCP of all VCPs there. But him bringing Joel Embiid's son and deceased brother into an argument on why Joel Embiid is such a disappointment. That is so disgusting. Disgusting from Marcus Hayes. Disgusting. I got the Vikings covering. The Rams are 3-point dogs at home. The rare road team will win tonight on Thursday Night Football. Vikings +3, first pick of the week. Can't get the super chats till I get to 1,000 subscribers. So tell one, tell all to subscribe. Walk around with my YouTube link on your phone and tell people to subscribe all day long. Just so you know. But we got to wrap it up right there, guys. Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. The Sixers are not made for this. That was my tagline for today. Thank you to Uriah Young again. If you guys missed the Uriah Young interview, go back and check it out. It was fantastic. Dude's a smart guy. And he's got a great podcast, NBANowandThen.com. Free Max B. Yeah. Anyway, guys, with that being said, we'll be back tomorrow with another great episode. We'll preview the Eagles, Bengals, the NFL season. Shane Haff will be here. Keys to victory or losses, whatever it may be, will be in the discussion. But everybody, have a great day. Everybody, go Birds. And everybody, bubbles up to you.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 pop.